On this episode of AdTalk OC, we sit down with Stephanie Tagle, VP of Strategy and a key player behind the creative launch of a new car brand in the US. We talk big picture strategy, bold moves, and what it really takes to bring a brand to life. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome to another episode of AdTalk OC. My name is Brittany Nicole. I am the Education Chair of AAF, American Advertising Federation, Orange County. I am also the founder of Bree Agency Marketing and Lioness Rib, Regal Incandescent Bold. We're here with Stephanie Tagle, the brand strategist that was a part of the original team who launched the new luxury automotive brand, Genesis. Hi, Stephanie. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
We're so glad to have you here with us today.
Happy to be here.
Yes, to chat about all things advertising, your career, the industry as a whole, little OC insights and what have you.
Sure.
So yeah, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's get going.
Right, let's go. Let's start off by talking about your background and your career. Okay, so what originally pulled you into advertising? Like creative marketing, like what got you started?
So I'm going to be really, really honest. It started out as a practical choice. I originally in college wanted to major in marketing. And so I still remember very distinctly in my college advisor's office, he said, okay, you want to major in marketing? All right, here are all the classes that you need to take in order to major in that, to get that degree. And I looked and I said, that's a lot of math, you know? And so really it was all about math avoidance. And I thought, okay, what is the closest thing to marketing that doesn't require all this math? And lo and behold, there was advertising. It was School of Communications. And I was like, perfect. I like commercials. I love that advertising is subjective. It uses left and right brain. Sold, let's do this. And actually it was the right choice, you know, because looking back as a kid, I was always really curious about people. I was a really nosy, curious kid. Like I loved, you know, just learning how people lived, why they choose the choices that they chose, and what they get excited about, what makes them tick, why they feel a certain way, what makes them buy things, and you know, just their way of life. And so advertising is really just about taking what you know about people and using that to create ideas. So in a way, it just kind of made sense, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love that. When did you realize that you can connect your personality, like what you realized as a child, your curiosity and your people watching skills?
Yeah.
When you could
my nosiness, yeah.
When you could marry all of that into an actual career, when did that click for you?
You know, when I first started out in advertising, I actually started out as an account manager on the Barbie account at Ogilvy. And this was during a time when there was, you know, you couldn't hold a good team down. The teams were just like, you know, you could barely like get them to stay for one season. So it was kind of cool though, because at one point we didn't have a strategist and it took time to get a strategist. So I filled in for the strategist role. And part of the strategist role was like doing the research, you know, watching. So for Barbie, it was like watching kids play with these toys, how they relate to these toys. And I was just like behind that two-way mirror, seeing how kids play with toys and what makes them like these toys. And it was just really, really interesting. And that really, it's like learning about people and you know, their motivations and what makes them tick, what appeals to them. That's when it really like clicked for me. I was like, oh, well, how can I be doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you got to live your childhood, I won't know if it's childhood dream. Maybe you didn't know it was a dream at the time, but it's like you were made for this. And that's what I'm hearing.
I'm very well suited for it. And like I said, it uses left and right brain strategy. It's not all rational and it's not all creative. You've got to use both. And that was like perfect, you know? I was like, great, because that's kind of like how I think. I'm both analytical and intuitive. And that's kind of the science and the art of things. And that's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I love that you called that out too. I think that we're on the same page when it comes to that. Because I really appreciate that about this industry as well. Yeah. That you're able to be analytical and creative. Mm-hmm. We don't have to choose a side.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, and the great thing about this industry too is, and this is what I tell a lot of students that come through. I do a lot of work with students with Girls Inc. of Orange County and mentoring and all of that stuff, is that within an advertising agency or just advertising in general, whatever your personality is, whatever your skill set is, there's a place for you here. You know, if you love numbers, there's a place for you here. If you are one of those people where you just, you're a people person and you like building relationships, there's a place for you here. If you like art, if you, whatever, there's a place for you in advertising. So that's what I love about it. And you can see that, like, in the agency, all the different types of people that work there and their special skills and talents and interests.
Yeah, and I guess that's what makes it so fun too, right?
Absolutely.
It's a super fun industry. So let's talk about like early influences, right? So early on, was there like a person or a moment, an experience, something that like really stuck with you or shaped your career?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I started out working at Ogilvy, and I've been really lucky to have been able to work at some of the most iconic agencies in the industry. So Ogilvy, Young and Rubicam, Foot Cone, all of that stuff. And I was really lucky because those agencies really invested in developing their young people. So they, invested in the training of junior planners. And so what I took away from that is that, those early years is that storytelling is probably singularly one of the most important things you can do as a strategist. Being able to architect the story is huge. And for a story to be compelling, I also used to love to write. I read voraciously as a kid and I loved writing, and I knew that in order to make a story compelling, there has to be some tension, So, because if there isn't any tension, then it's just like, oh, it's really predictable, and not compelling. Yeah. So, and that goes the same, and that's what strategy is about, is architecting that story and identifying where the tension is that the brand can answer or the product can answer. And so, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think my job is fun. I have a lot of fun with my job.
It really is. Finding the tension makes it relatable though, because that's life, right?
Oh, totally.
No one's life is just a bed of roses every day. We all have our struggles, we have our ups and downs.
Yep.
So when you're able to really have the brand relate that in their messaging, it feels relatable and real.
Yeah, when it creates a role for the brand, so that's what makes the brand relevant to you, is if there is a tension that the brand can answer. So knowing people, this is a very human-oriented, people-oriented business. You've got to know people, you got to know humans, you've got to know behavior, you've got to know motivations, but you also have to know what your brand is about and how can the brand fit into their lives.
Absolutely. We just started and I'm learning so much. I love it. Okay. Turning point projects. Okay. So when we were talking, you told me that you loved working on the Genesis launch.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I have to say that like Genesis is probably one of the highlights of my career.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun. It's not every day that you can launch a completely new luxury automotive brand.
Yeah.
And to start it from like the ground up. We were literally like 5 people in like, a back office with a Post-it note on the door that says Genesis team on it,
Oh, for real, ground zero.
Ground zero. Like it was like you Google Genesis, you got Phil Collins and the Bible. Like our search was like we need to, like, all this advertising is not going to help if people search us and they get Phil Collins and the Bible. So that was a ton of fun. Being able to architect that story, to create the mythology around the brand. When brand doesn't, when it's new, people don't know anything about it, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's great because you don't have all this baggage from the past, but with luxury, it's like, okay, what are you going to do when you don't have heritage? So a lot of what we did was really making sure that we knew what we were about, and we knew what we weren't about. So everything we did, that we made sure that it communicated who we were and who we weren't, and that our behaviors aligned with that value system and that belief system.
Absolutely. Positioning is key.
Yeah. Positioning is key, but also behaving that positioning is key, right? And staying true to that, because it's easy to get lost. Yeah. So that was a ton of fun.
I love that. Knowing who you are and who you aren't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The lines are clearly defined.
So with Genesis, because we were starting from scratch, we really had to create that context, because consumers didn't have any context about who we were. And we were really lucky because we had clients who really loved to collaborate with us and were willing to take risks, so they were like, yeah, okay, let's how can we reveal a new vehicle? How can we launch a new vehicle in a way that nobody's done before? Let's hold a free concert with Gwen Stefani. Let's make it global. Let's use this for content. Great. Let's partner with artists and let them have their way with the vehicle and show like all the cool design features of the vehicle. And so, or even partnering with emerging artists, like lesser known artists, because that's what we're about. We're about, doing something uniquely and differently than everybody else. Yeah. So we were really lucky that we had clients that allowed us to kind of push on things and stay true to who we are, because when you're starting out and you really have to put a stake in the ground and know who you are and act it.
Yeah, absolutely. Being free to let your creative breathe, right?
Yeah,
totally. That makes a big difference.
Exactly.
All right.
AdTalk OC is proudly brought to you by IG1 Communications and the American Advertising Federation of Orange County, the community where marketers, creatives, and advertisers come together to learn, connect, and grow. If you're looking to level up your skills, expand your network, or stay ahead of what's happening in the industry, AAFOC has you covered with workshops, speaker events, and exclusive member opportunities all year long. Join the community that's shaping the future of marketing in Orange County. Visit aaforangecounty.com to learn more and get involved.
So, we know you've been a member of AAFOC for a while. So tell us about that. How did you become a member?
This was a while back, very, very early on in my career. I just, signed up and was a part of it. And I think maybe it was an OC Ad Club situation.
Okay.
And I was on the board of that, and it just grew from there. And it's been a really gratifying experience. As you know, the OC ad market is small. A lot of us, we run up and down the coast, LA and San Diego and Orange County and what have you. And it's a tight-knit community, and it's been fun because they get to be your friends. You get to really know them. You know their families. So it's been really great to kind of be involved with the community and build these relationships with everyone. But equally fulfilling is being able to give back by helping young people, college students, and people like even high school students.
For sure.
Who are interested in marketing or advertising or just brands or art or design or what have you, to be able to mentor them, share your knowledge, inspire them, help them see where their path could be in advertising, that there is a path here, there's a place for them here. So that's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that really is. That's one of the things we really love too, is giving back to the community and making sure there's space for not just the professionals but the youth. So, yeah, glad you're on board with us on that as well. Okay, so outside of like giving back, is there anything else you've gained from being a part of this community? Like lifelong friends, you did mention like meeting their families and all of that. Is that more so from who you work with, or actual like mixers, or?
Yeah, colleagues that turn into friends. I mean, I have colleagues who are now like the godparents of my child. I'm not even joking. Like I have friends who, like they're like family at this point. My most recent boss, knew me from when I first graduated from college,
so cool.
And to reconnect later on in my career, it's like, oh, great, and like, by the way, I never got to thank you many years ago. You did this for me, so that was really, really great. But, just being part of advertising has also helped me, better understand the world that we live in. We are in a business where we are very in tune with culture and with people, and we think critically about that, and so that's really helped me just in how I view the world, my perspective on the world. That's helped kind of shape that. I mean, I would be remiss not to acknowledge that my line of work well, my line of work seeps out into, like real life,
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And things come full circle, so that's good. Okay, so one of our biggest things that we do every year for AAFOC is our award show. So winning an Addy, how do you feel about that? Like, you've won multiple Addy awards. Tell us what that's like.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, it's a lot of fun, and awards can be very, very meaningful. But I think the biggest thing about the awards is the work, the team effort that goes into it.
Absolutely.
And when you think about the work, the late nights, the internal debates, the excitement and the belief in the idea, all of that, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. The award is kind of like a celebration of that. And we certainly don't, make ideas with like an award in mind, but it certainly like raises the standards, right? It raises the bar. And when you see ideas that win awards and you learn about it, whether it's yours or somebody else's, there's something inspiring to take away with it. Like, oh wow, that was really clever. Oh wow, that was really smart or funny or what have you. So awards are just kind of like the celebration of all the collaborative effort that went into that idea.
Absolutely, we love that. So, do you think awards change the way you think about the work or how others see it?
I don't know if it changes the way about how others see it. Some people say like work is very unrewarding, and I guess in a way like there is a little bit of a reward because it's acknowledgement. Hey, you guys did great, and that's always nice. Acknowledgement is always is always nice. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't.
Yes, that could definitely pay big because it feels like it, right?
Yeah, like hey, thanks. I appreciated that, and I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
goes a long way. So that's something for all of us to know. Say thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Let's talk about ideas. We talked about awards and how fun that is, but let's talk about where ideas start, right? So when starting a new campaign, what usually comes to mind, like the audience insights, the big idea?
Yeah.
How do you normally get to that point?
So with every project, with every assignment, it's very easy to go into tactics first. Your client comes and they brief you and they say blah 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 all this stuff, and you're like, okay, let's get to the solution. That's not how I work. For me, it's sometimes I'm like, okay, let's talk about the problem first because we want to make sure we get that right.
Yes.
What exactly, and understanding the challenge and the problem is the biggest thing, because sometimes what's in that client brief, there's something, it's another layer underneath that. Oh, the real problem is this.
Yeah.
So digging into the challenge and really understanding all of the facets of the challenge and honing in on that is by far step one for me. So I don't always assume that, like, hey, we need an ad to do this. I'm like, okay, let's go sell more of this. How do we do that? Look, wait, what, maybe it's the problem is different. And that can change the entire idea, the trajectory of the idea. Now, once you figure out, okay, this is the problem, now you can figure out how communications can answer that. Like what needs to be the focus of the communications. And from there, I start with the people, the audience. I always start with the audience. It's key. Like, what is it about them? And again, what is it about them that the brand can solve? So audience, then insight, and that's when you get to go like what the idea, the strategy, like what's the jumping off point for creatives.
Yeah, how do we go from there? I'm curious now though. So you've had a long career, and did you always like what got you to that point of deciding that I'm going to start with the problem? Like, because I feel like when we start out, we're textbook, right? We want to do what we were taught, how we were taught it.
Yeah.
Did you just randomly, was there a lot of trial and error? Did you just?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of lessons learned from mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just say, oh, that's the problem, and take it at face value and then run with it, and if you're lucky, that's great. Like it works, but then as you get into it, you're like, you realize like, oh wait, as you're in the process of ideating or writing your strategy, you start to uncovering different layers, and you're like, oh, we need to get back here, and I remember early in my career, it's like, oh, this is fine, the problem is this. And you're going through your brief and you're writing it, and then you get here and you're like, wait, there's a wall. Why is that? Then you have to move back up in your brief, like, did I get that right? So definitely trial and error. And but you learn it quickly because again, as you're in practice, you're like, okay, wait, let's make sure we understand this correctly. And I'm definitely one of those people, like, I'm not afraid to ask like obvious questions or dumb questions. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna ask this really question. I'm not afraid to do that because sometimes you never know like what it uncovers.
Absolutely, and what someone else's perspective is.
Yeah,
that's the curiosity. So
that's the curiosity, and just kind of like I'm just gonna ask what's on my mind. It's just the openness of that. Like I'm like, okay, let's make sure.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any tips for anyone that maybe curious but a little shy, like about boldness, stepping out, not being afraid to ask those what may seem like dumb questions, or just walking in their confidence early on?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you said that because I recently had an intern this past summer who was brilliant. He was so smart. But one of his questions was, and this is partly also like why I hired him, is because he asked this question during the interview. And it was a very interesting question, a very curious question, and I just like, oh yeah, you're a strategist. He said, do you think an introvert can succeed in advertising? And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting question, and it says a lot about him and his interest in people. But I do think that yes, an introvert can, but you do have to step outside of your box and be able to speak up. Yeah. Right? And and not be afraid. And I think the right people, the right teams would appreciate, and respect those questions. Just don't be afraid. Don't let fear stop you. Ask those questions. You don't know what it can uncover. If you have to couch it by like, hey, this might be a question that everybody already knows, I've discussed before, but can you explain this? Or what about this? I think we're in the business of ideas, and in the business of ideas, you can't, I think it'd be a danger to make assumptions,
Yeah.
So you don't assume. Ask those questions. Keep digging. You never know, like what it'll uncover, what kinds of trains of thought it'll lead you down.
Yeah, that part right there.
Yeah.
The trains of thought, like just saying it out loud and what it made, it's like catches on like wildfire, especially if you're like in a group setting, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone is feeding off of each other and that's
sharing. And that opens dialogue, right? So if you can open dialogue, like that's really rich, I'm not afraid to go to my creative teams. I love partnering with my creatives and say, hey, I've got like a really half-baked idea, and I'm like I don't have everything solved. Like I just have this idea, and they're like, okay, what is it? And I'll be like, this, and this, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's it. like that's all I got. What do you think? That's all I got. What do you think? Yeah. And then you start riffing, and the riffing is like so much fun, and it opens up that dialogue, and you can't have that if you're afraid. If you're afraid to come out with, obvious questions or half-baked ideas, or hey, I had this random thought, it has to be open like that, and that open dialogue is so key to creativity.
Rogue Collective is a playground for creatives with room to create, collaborate, work, and play. Members have access to our collaborative workspace, our podcast studio, creative and community-based events, conference rooms, call booths, yard games, photo video studio, and just like a ton more. And with memberships starting out at just $99 a month, there's like no good reason that you're not already here. But I'm going to give you one. Right now, you can try it out for a week for free. So visit roguecollective.com to learn more, or just come on by. That's roguecollective.com for more info. Rogue Collective, a playground for creatives like you.
Okay, let's talk about staying fresh.
Okay,
advertising moves really fast, and that's part of the fun of the industry, right? But how do you keep ideas fresh without chasing every trend?
I think that if your idea is rooted in something true, something just innately human and true and relatable, I think that it can flex over time. That's what gives it legs. What we call, oh, that idea has legs, or that insight has legs. That's great. I don't know if you've heard that term. We use it a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's called legs. I remember when I first came across that, I'm like, okay, so that means it can run. Cool. So it can flex over time. Dove's, Real Beauty campaign, that's based on a truth, right?
Yes.
Like over time, like
Great
that's just,
example.
all of those things. And another thing too is paying attention to culture. And being able to move with culture is big as well. And that's another way to kind of freshen up an old idea or a long-standing idea, and how can we modernize it? How can we update it? Because sometimes the strategy is great, right? Like your strategy still works. Dove is another example. Dove is a great example, right? They've had that strategy for a while, but they keep refreshing it. Whether it is about how girls see themselves, and then when social media came out, it's like the effects of social media and young girls' perspectives of themselves, and all of these things. So making sure that it's rooted in truth and staying connected to what's happening in culture.
That's really good. That's like perfect boundaries to kind of know what to follow and what not to follow. My next question was going to be, well, how do you know what to ignore? But you don't have to think about that if you're staying to what's true and what's relevant to culture. I love that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that being said, like, I don't think you have to jump on every single trend.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a mistake. We're in a time right now where we're just so saturated with noise. There's so much noise, and with our phones, what have you, and people are kind of clamoring for, by people I mean brands, and also people, right? Like influencers or what have you, they're clamoring for attention, and people are chasing virality and stuff, and it's important to not jump on every single one of that. A brand has to really stay true to who they are, and so know how to say no to things. Like, hey, that's really great, but that's not who we are. So I mean, just knowing what to ignore, what to say no to is just as important as knowing what to jump on.
All right, so clients, brands, and impact. So working with clients, what helps build the kind of trust with your clients that allows them or makes them feel comfortable with having you take risks with their brand and their campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I think that trust is something that's built over time in any kind of relationship, right? Whether it is a business relationship, a personal relationship, or a friendship, whatever. Trust is built over time. And I think in business in general, clients, will take risks if they feel that you know their business really well and care about their business really well.
Yeah, that's really good. Is there a time that you recall where a client really surprised you? Like trusting you really quickly or giving you a lot of free will?
Yeah. You know what? I'm lucky. I can say yes to that. I can say yes. There's been a time where a client, said, no, you need to push it further. Like, push the envelope more. No, think bigger. We're like, that's awesome feedback. Great, we will think bigger. And there have been times our Wiener Schnitzel client is like, yeah, that's great, but you know what? You can make it more irreverent. I'm like, great. Genesis is like, yeah, that's good, but like, think bigger. This is a big launch for us. We want something bigger and more meaningful, and that's always like such a pleasure to hear.
Absolutely, that's empowering too. Like
those are what they call like pleasant surprises. Like, oh, awesome.
We can do more. All right, so brand mistakes. What's the biggest mistake you see brands making right now?
I'll go back to my my previous point, and this is a conversation I have a lot with my peers. In the quest for virality or for attention, people like brands and sometimes manufacture moments. right? And manufactured moments, it's almost as if it becomes very performative and it comes off inauthentic. And so I think that that's a big mistake, you know, chasing, like creating moments, manufacturing moments that don't feel true to the brand. I think that if you were to know who you are, put a stake in it, know what to say no to, I think you'll be able to recognize those moments and be able to, you know, say, okay, this is right for us to enter into this moment, to engage with this, or to leverage this. I think a brand that does that really well is Patagonia. You know, Patagonia does it so well. They just live who they are. It's a brand with a real purpose. You know, and you know, it's not just a belief system that they talk about. They live it. You see it in their operations. You see it in the way that they form their business. You know, when Roe versus Wade got turned over, you know, you saw what they did with their healthcare policy for their employees. You see them, you know, giving free repairs to all your Patagonia stuff because they're all about environmental impact. Constantly repairing, like sending in your Patagonia jacket for repairs. They're like, most companies would rather you buy a new one. They're like, no, send it back because, you know, we can repair it for you because we are about the environment. So they live it. And whenever there's an opportunity that happens in culture and you know, in real time, they know when to enter the fray. Yeah,
that's really good. That's a great example.
Yeah.
So as audiences become more skeptical with AI and all the things that are out here now, how do brands show purpose in a meaningful way?
You know, I think that purpose is something that you behave consistently over time. You know, it's not just a message. Purpose is behavior. And it's consistent behavior. Like I said, Patagonia is a big example of that. They operationalize their purpose, right? It's part of their operations. It's not just part of an ad campaign. They stay true to it and they invest in it, you know, and they say no to things that don't align with it. So purpose isn't just, it's not performative. It's not just lip service. It's behavior, and it's behavior that's done over and over and over again.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a total lifestyle, you know? Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, you already gave me the examples. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like purpose is your North Star. It's your reason for being. It's your reason for existing, you know? So you have to stay true to that. And that's when brands lose their way is when they don't stay true to their purpose. And next thing you know, like, what are you about?
Yeah. And it goes back to confidence too, right? Confident in what you built as far as a brand and even individuals, right? When you're confident in that, you can stand on your no or your yes. Yeah.
Confidence and courage, right? Nike did that. I mean, remember the Colin Kaepernick campaign? They got some flack out of it. Some people celebrated. Some people was like, you know, but they stuck to it because they knew who they were. So purpose takes courage.
Absolutely, and it's way more respected too.
Yeah.
So
But that's what brings you authenticity. That's what brings you loyalty. That's when you get, you know, people who really believe in your brand and stick with it.
No one can stick with you if you won't stick with you, right?
That's a good one. No one's gonna stick with you if you don't stick with you. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so on to AI and new tools. I want to get to that since we're talking about skepticism and audiences. With AI and the industry changing today, what excites you? What makes you really cautious?
Yeah. You know, it's funny because some people are really afraid of AI. And I used to think like, wow, like, okay, like AI could potentially take away all of our jobs. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that there is a substitute for what humans can bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And AI can be a great partner. AI can definitely make your job a little bit easier. And I think AI can be empowering. If used properly, you can really be empowered with what AI can do, but you still have to be a part of that process. Because AI is, you know, can help sort things for you, but it's you know, it doesn't substitute like human creativity. So you still need to have that knowledge and connection to people, and also belief in yourself that you can come up with a great idea or see a facet of it that AI isn't going to see, because I find that AI, it's a very new technology, right? So everything that it spits out to me is a little generic. So it's very flat, and you as a strategist is what's going to bring depth to whatever AI, what information or data it gives you.
Yeah, and actually bring it to life, right?
Yeah,
make it a reality.
Yeah, it's up to us to breathe life into
Absolutely.
things.
Yes, I totally agree. AI is a great assistive tool.
Yeah.
That's how I think of it.
Well, that being said, too, I think that agencies have a responsibility to implement AI responsibly. So that's, we have to understand our responsibility in using this new technology.
Yeah, for sure. I think the rise of AI at the same time with the job market being the way it is, people are, what's being said in the media is really being fed into. It's like, oh my God, AI is taking everyone's jobs. People are being laid off left and right.
Kids are not going to be able to find jobs when they graduate college, et cetera, et cetera. And and that's a shame. And I think that's where our responsibility is making sure that AI is implemented responsibly, because we shouldn't eliminate ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's an opportunity for investment there.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
use it to empower, people, your teams.
Yes, for sure. So speaking on teams, how would you talk to your team, or how do you talk to your team about AI and the emergence of the changes and stuff?
I mean, I encourage it. Like I said, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Get to know it, and use it. Learn how it can help you. Learn its limitations. Because it's the only way. You can't run away from it. You can't ignore it. It's here. It's here, and it's going to keep going with or without you.
Really fast.
Yeah, and it can be really helpful. But also, don't take yourself out of the equation. Use it, but don't let it do your whole job, because first of all, I'm going to know. You're going to see it. And you can see, because whatever AI spits out, you look at it and you're like, and I'll tell you a story. And no shame in this, but part of our interviewing process for interns is filling out a worksheet of okay, what inspires you, what are you about, what makes you special, et cetera, et cetera. And there are some where I'm like, okay, this sounds really good, but I can't see the person behind the words.
Wow.
I'd much rather have grammatical mistakes and be able to see the person behind the words than
a generic response.
Or even what seemingly is wow, that's a really articulate response, but I don't know who this person is, or I don't know what does that mean, So so don't take yourself out of it. Use it, but make sure that you use it responsibly and use it as a starting point. It's not the end all be all.
Absolutely. Yeah. That definitely shows the importance of people, right? How we have to take our own value. Well, don't take our value for granted, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing too, with colleagues and stuff. I mean, it can shorten the time span. If you're doing research and stuff and you have to write a report and you've got these transcripts that you have to go through, you can feed that into AI and oh, here are the emerging themes, great, but oh wait, that one's not quite right. It's actually deeper than that. No, there's nuance in that, and so you can use it as a starting point to say, oh, okay, it'll cut down the sifting, and that's kind of how I use it. It helps cut down the sifting. It helps kind of initiate that initial structure, but you have to massage it and say, okay, no, we got to move this around. This doesn't make sense. And where's the nuance on that? Where's the depth in that? And all of that. So it's more of a partner and a facilitator, but it's not the end all be all for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. how do you know when a campaign is truly connected? Like, where do you get your signals, should I say?
Yeah, I think the best indicator of that is when the audience says like, wow, it's as if you're talking like right to me. Like, oh, wow, I can really see myself in that.
Yeah.
Like, or yeah, that brand gets me. That's when you know that a campaign has connected. Another thing too is that when you know that a campaign is connected is if it withstands the test of time.
Oh yeah.
Everybody loves to talk about the Apple 1984 campaign. It's iconic.
Yeah.
And why is it iconic? Because it connects. It's the thematics of it, the insight behind it of rebelling against convention and the current system is something that is just that's like from history on that lives on. So and that's what made that campaign iconic. So yeah, and you're like, okay, yeah, I see myself in that. That's a value, that's a belief system that I can get on board with. Like that's totally me. And that's when you know, like, okay, you've hit a nerve.
There we go. So is there a certain reaction signal or anything that you value more than numbers when it comes to knowing when the campaign has?
It's so funny. We did this campaign for Wiener Schnitzel called Wiener Wednesday. And it was, you could say, oh, it's just a promotion. At first glance, it's just a promotion. But it wasn't, because the tension for Wiener Schnitzel is that 80% of people love hot dogs, but 60% of that 80% are ashamed to admit it. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
They're ashamed. There's like this hot dog hypocrisy, I love hot dogs, but I eat it in secret. Like, I don't want to be in public eating these hot dogs. I will only eat it at a baseball game, but I really love it, So we did this campaign, based off of that insight that like, oh, there's a hot dog hypocrisy at play. So what we really need to do is provide the cultural cover to remove that stigma and allow people to come out of the closet and just celebrate their like wiener pride, right? Like be proud that you love hot dogs, celebrate it. So we turned it into like a midweek ritual and just celebrating like hot dogs. We took our most popular item, which was the chili dog, and an irresistible deal value, and then using the brand's voice of just having fun with it, making it celebratory. Launched this Wiener Wednesday. It allowed us to take the slowest day of the week, and it became like the #1 like day of the week, like in sales and stuff.
Something.
The growth was tremendous, and that was great. So that data point was like that metric, like score, we did it.
Yeah.
But the real data point was the merch.
Oh, okay.
The hats, that's like, I love, we had the hats that I love wieners or wiener pride, or it ain't a party till the wieners come out. Like, it was very, very irreverent.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I get it. It was very irreverent, but it sold out. And not only did these hats sell out, people were posting on TikTok, I'm gonna get my hat. And not even only that, it showed up on the secondary market for up to 6 times as much as retail price.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, people wanted it and they were selling, and so like that's not a metric that you can like that's different. Like, that wasn't a KPI, but I'm gonna say, hey, that's a great KPI. Like, resale market commanding 6 times the price retail.
Yeah.
So
how do you top that?
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. It's like people are like scalping,
That's really cool.
Wiener merchandise. Yeah.
I know. I think that's like a really fun thing about our time right now with social media and stuff. So back in not gonna age either one of this, but back in the day, it was all about like Nielsen ratings and all like the science of it all. But now to actually scroll on your phone and see the reactions to campaigns that you've put out there, work that you've worked on. Yeah. That's like real-time gratification.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I was like, and I remember telling the creatives, I'm like, guys, it's on eBay. I'm like, it's selling, like, it's posted for $60.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, there's only one left, And everybody's like, oh my God. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's something. That's really cool. So, rapid fire. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. So what campaign do you wish you had created?
I wish I was part of that Dove campaign, Real Beauty campaign.
Yes.
That's an awesome campaign, and also because I probably was a feminist before, I probably was a feminist before I knew what feminism was. Growing up, my favorite character, this is me, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, was Ripley from Aliens. I thought she was such a badass. She was smart, she was beautiful, she was maternal, but she can kick ass, And so I was like all about women and the power of women, and that's why I feel like oh wow, the Dove Real Beauty campaign, that's awesome, and that's one I wish I could have been a part of that, because that's something that's really near and dear to my heart.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so what is your favorite restaurant in Orange County?
There are a couple that I love. Let's go highbrow first. Okay. I love Marché Moderne. Okay. I am a total Francophile. I love French. I love France. I love French food, and part of that is because I love butter. If it was socially acceptable to be walking around eating a stick of butter, I would totally do it. But French food, it's all butter. Yes. So Marché Moderne, I love it. A little bit more. Let's go a little bit more casual. There's this place in Westminster and Garden Grove called Oakenlau, and it's a total hole in the wall kind of stuff. They have a large menu of things, Vietnamese food, and just so delicious and so fun, and so I love that as well. So
awesome. Give us some good tips. Okay, what is the best piece of advice that you ever received in advertising?
It's really about, I guess, more of a personal advice. Believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Know who you are, know what you can do, and believe in it, because this business can be tough. There can be a lot of pushback and challenge, and lots of stressful times, and lots of oh, this isn't right. But you've got to keep believing in yourself, and that's kind of it. Know that you know what you're doing, and if you don't, it's okay to ask those questions. And also, another thing is, and this is more of a life stage type of advice, but don't be too self-conscious. Don't be in your head. Don't think too hard about yourself, because guess what? Everybody else is too busy thinking about themselves. So don't think oh, people are going to think this about me. Oh, if people are going to think this, or oh, they're going to think it's a bad idea, or what have you. Don't even worry about that. Don't get in your own head, because people are not thinking that hard about you, because they're too busy thinking about themselves.
Best place for brainstorming?
For me, sometimes the best ideas come in the most unexpected places, whether you're driving or you're in the shower and you're oh, wait, but as a team, just wherever the mood strikes. Sometimes the best brainstorming is when everybody's just, it's not an actual scheduled brainstorm session. You're just sitting and chatting with people and getting to know them, and then it helps when there's drinks, I suppose, and sometimes that's happened. I'm oh man, I'm really stuck. Okay, maybe I'll go get a drink first. But just wherever the mood strikes, and if there's people there and the conversation's flowing, let it flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It has been a pleasure sitting and talking with you.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed laughing and hearing your insights.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to all of you for watching another episode of AdTalk OC. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again to Rogue Collective. We really appreciate this dynamic space. Bye.
What a great talk we had with Stephanie Tagle. Thank you, Stephanie, for letting us into your world and giving us a glimpse of your creative mind. This podcast is brought to you by the American Advertising Federation of Orange County, or AAFOC, where we bring together marketers, creatives, and industry pros to share ideas and build community. If you would like to be featured as a guest on our show, shoot us an email. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. And follow us on Instagram at AAFOC.